the more I watch that, the more irritated I get.
You're like, what?
The more irritated I get because, like, Nathaniel Hackett, stop playing the victim. Y'all were sorry. Sorry. And it wasn't like a secret. You know what they say in ball, Shady? The big eye in the sky don't lie.
Don't never lie.
The big eye in the sky, it don't lie. What that means is that camera, that all 22, that end zone camera, that red zone camera, it will tell the truth, and it's in 4K. We all saw how bad the Broncos were. So now Nathaniel Hackett acting like, we're in all glass houses, that you shouldn't throw stones. No, I'm not with that. I actually co-signed what Sean Payton said. The job was awful, one of the worst jobs we've ever seen, and I'm not really sure what Hackett getting at.
You know what, real quick, I never understood why, like, if a player's not good and I say he ain't that good, people be mad at that. Sean Payton says, look, they did a terrible job as a coach. They look bad as a team, and he did bad as a coach. Like, what's the problem with that? It's like, you shouldn't say it? Help me out with this. I'm serious.
I think...
Because I'm always going to speak the truth.
I'm really thinking that we all know it was bad, but just don't tell the whole world.
Okay.
Just don't tell the whole world.
Noted. Look, noted. Noted. Okay.
We didn't watch that live.
Unfortunately,
we didn't see it.
It was terrible last year.
I mean, they were bad.
Terrible.
Oh, my God.
Bad. Worst offense in the league. Here's the thing. He's talking about, 40 years of coaching and all that, and like, okay. So you wanted to fit all 40 years of coaching cliches in one press conference?
One of them.
I ran out of space. What we got? Coach's kid, glass house code, no excuses, unfortunate. It's the way things are. We're all susceptible. I own it, no excuses. Silver lining, this organization's great, brought us together. I can't even read my own writing. Highs and lows. Whew. But the one we didn't play, but the one that irritates me the most about that salad of coaching cliches, you always put in one too many ingredients, You're just making it,
right.
And then it's just like
There's
one too many things and messed up the whole meal.
Too much salt.
You had all these ingredients, and then the one that messed it up. You do it for the love of the game. You are not a volunteer. This is not a charity. You get paid. I'm quite sure he gets paid. He gets paid, right?
Absolutely.
I don't want to make sure. I'm not saying
as a
things that
coordinator,
aren't
he's getting paid as a
factual.
coordinator.
He's getting paid as a coordinator.
Yes,
He get paid to do that job in Denver.
Them head coaching contracts is
But hold on,
guaranteed.
he wasn't. Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, he's still getting paid. So you got paid. Someone gave you a check, probably direct deposit.
They still giving him a check from the Broncos.
To do the job. So you don't do it for the love of the game. Can you love the game while simultaneously getting paid to coach the game? Yes. So two things can be true. But what is not true is that you only do this for the love of the game. You do this as a job. And if you do a bad job and you get fired, there's consequences to that outside of you. There's an entire coaching staff that gets fired. They got to go find new cribs. And guess what? They ain't getting the head coach's check.
No, not.
So their families have to move, and their kids have to find new schools, and their wife has to find a new spot to take the kids to eat lunch, and then you got the whole organization's players, and then the training staff, and you got assistants, and you got executive assistants. Don't talk to me about how we're supposed to baby these coaches when this happens. Should Sean Payton violate a code? Absolutely. There's a coach's code, and it's within that fraternity, sorority of coaches that you shouldn't call out another coach for a bad job. Did he tell a lie? No. And when players are bad, Shady, you're right. What do we say to them? Cut them. They're bums. And yes, coaches get fired all the time, and we talk about coaches doing bad jobs as well. But let's be serious about what happened in Denver. If they are as bad in New York as they were in Denver last year, it will go down in history as one of the worst jobs as a history in the NFL, just like Denver was last year.
Yeah.
It could cost Russ the Hall of Fame if he doesn't bounce back at a high level. Like, people are going to start questioning his entire credentials because of how bad it was in Denver. And maybe some of that is on Russ. Right? Some of it probably is. But some of it was also on the coaching staff because we have eyeballs and we watched those games. Eye in the sky don't lie.
Never lie.
You know what? And then actually,
lies.
you was right about that. That's a good point about the coaches. Once they get fired, they got to figure out what they're going to do because they don't have no union. You know that? The coaches don't have no union. The coaches don't have no union. They don't.
Think about that.
They don't.
Union?
So the coaches don't. Now, the head coach, he get his money. He ice paper. The other ones don't. They got to figure it out. So, and then the head coach, he might bring on some of the other guys.
Yep.
But for example, like, so he got cut as a head coach. Now he goes to the Jets as an offensive coordinator. But them other guys on his staff, they got to figure it out.
Let me ask, do y'all at all, I don't want to say it, but do y'all feel bad for Hackett.
Nah, I don't feel bad
In
for
the
nobody.
sense that we all watched how atrocious a job it is. His punishment was being terminated. Like, that was his punishment. Now Sean Payton is 6-7 months later going to, for whatever reason, remind everybody what we already knew, how terrible of a job Hackett did. Hackett has been punished. He got fired. Now, he's still collecting checks, but as y'all know, if you get
he made $4 million last year for that job.
What hat is he wearing right now?
Wait, they gave him $4 million for that job? I could do better than that. For $2 million.
What hat is he wearing right now?
Guy. You crazy?
Is he employed?
He's still employed.
Is he an offensive coordinator in the NFL?
He is. He is.
Punishment feels like a harsh word for that.
I mean, getting fired is still...
It's the consequence of doing a bad job.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah,
and I don't like to advocate for people losing their jobs, of course. Like, this is, the world that we live in is very...
I don't mind either.
It's very competitive.
Winners and there's losers, Joy.
Competitive. But what I don't like is the idea that we minimize it to just Nathaniel Hackett. Like, you can get up there and say all these 45 different cliches and all that. That's fine. It's not just about you. It's not about you. There's players that lost their jobs because of that. There's people whose reputations could potentially permanently damaged because of the job that you did. Now, I don't think he tried to do a bad job, but what is it? Like, what is this bubble thing that we're supposed to say here? It was a terrible job. If you really don't care like that, say, we did a bad job, but I'm with the Jets now, we're moving on. We talk about code and all that. Code what?
You think there's a coach's code?
There is a code. There's a code.
I didn't think coaches had no code.
There's a code.
I mean, they probably never just, I never seen a coach like come at another coach really. So I guess it may be, maybe a secret code. I don't know.
Here's my thing though. He did not say Nathaniel Hackett's name.
But we know who he's talking about.
But he said this. He said it was one of the worst coaching jobs. He didn't even say head coaching job.
Wait.
We're not doing loopholes.
What coach you talking about?
Yeah, we're not going
The
to
entire staff.
If I say that, man, that Patriots team, man, they're poorly coached. Who am I talking about?
All of them, because last year, all of them.
But the head man runs the show.
Of course, the head man has to get the majority of the blame.
Right.
But as we know, last year with the Broncos, they were poorly coached offensively from top to bottom.
Right, but
QBs,
Sean Payton isn't talking about the third assistant, the running backs coach. He's talking about the people making the decisions.
I don't think he was talking exclusively about Hackett.
I think the majority of it.
I think he was saying that whole job was terrible.
I think he was saying the whole job, but I think he's talking about, especially because it's Sean Payton. Like, this is where we're gonna, like, I'm not gonna give loopholes to the situation. Sean Payton was talking about the head coach. Sean Payton, we know Sean. He ain't picking on the little guy, like the guy who doesn't have any say in the wins and losses, who's showing up today every day at work, probably underpaid or unappreciated. He ain't talking about that guy. That's not who he's talking about. Or woman. That's not who he's talking about. We're not in a loophole situation. It was Hackett, and that's what he was talking about. And I think, honestly, that Sean walked in the building and was like, this is a disaster. This is way more work than I thought it was going to be. Happy to do it. But now I'm really starting from scratch. I'm going to have to build this organization up, which he has proven to have done before. And it's going to be a lot of work. And also, this, in some ways, takes a little bit of heat off Russ.
Does it?
Sure. Because if it was that bad of a job and Russ looks better this year, then we are going to revisit this conversation that it really was Nathaniel Hackett and not Russell Wilson.
I would say, though, that this actually puts more pressure on Payton. Because if Payton wants to say that the Broncos were so bad last year because of the coach, then the Broncos better improve this year because the coach changed. If the Broncos were so bad last year because of Russ and they're still bad, it's not on you, Payton, it's on Russ. But if you want to blame it on the coach and you change the variable, which is the coach, now the Broncos better be good this year.
It depends on how they look. If Russ doesn't look great, we're not blaming Sean Payton for it. We're just not. Sean Payton's a made man. We know what Sean Payton is capable of doing.
But you have to blame Russ for it.
Right.
All right, or rather, if Russ does not look great this year, you have to some degree, look at Sean.
No, I won't.
Why?
Because Sean Payton is supposed to be the master fixer. He's supposed to be the ultimate guru. He's supposed to be the coaching savant. But if Russ looks bad again...
Then it was Russ. And it wasn't all Nathaniel Hackett. And it certainly isn't Payton, because Payton has shown the ability to win with just about anybody.
Just about anybody. Yeah. Either way, we will be watching, and I cannot wait to see. Remember,
I can't wait for week 5.
Jets, Broncos.
Ooh.
It is going down. Okay.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.